I think that they were forced to start this latest offensive soon before they were ready. In part, I believe, to have something to show for Monday, tomorrow, for the Victory Day. And so the new offensive was being started before the units had been rebuilt, before they could actually get everything in place. And that's why we're seeing such minimal progress. And it's just almost a World War I style of trying to inch forward with relentless artillery.
Now, tomorrow, Russia will celebrate Victory Day. The national holiday commemorates the anniversary of the defeat of the Nazis in World War II. Symbolically, it's one of the most important dates in the Russian calendar. And this year, it will be set against the backdrop of the country's invasion of Ukraine. Ben Hodges is a retired US Army general and former commander of US Army forces in Europe. He joins us now from Tallinn, Estonia. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, guys.
So, with regard to Victory Day tomorrow, what should the rest of the world expect from it? Do you think that Vladimir Putin is going to make an announcement?
Well, certainly, I'm anxious to hear what he has to say and what comes out of this. Without a doubt, he's going to use this as an opportunity to help remind or convince his own domestic population that this is about a continuation of what they did 70 years ago, fighting against Nazis and fascism. So the failed activity, the failed invasion that they're conducting now, he's going to try and connect this to that as a continuation of the struggle in order to give it some sort of legitimacy. That'll be a stretch, but I think that's his main effort tomorrow. I don't anticipate a major announcement. We're not seeing the indicators, only speculation. So I think it's going to be more about this is why it's important for Russia, at least from his perspective.
You call his invasion a failed project. Many people would agree with you, but tomorrow is Victory Day, and he is going to have to be talking about it in the context of victory. How hard is it for Vladimir Putin to spin this as a successful war, even to a population who have no independent media?
Yeah, it's going to be quite a stretch. I would anticipate that what they'll do, the victories that they'll claim will be something along the lines of Donetsk and Luhansk, and even a large part of Kherson Oblast have been liberated from the Nazis, and that he'll try and quantify it somehow. But he'll also, I anticipate he'll spin it that now it's Russia against NATO. It's Russia against the United States. And he'll try to broaden the context. He would have to justify why they have not been successful and why there are estimates of well over 15,000 Russian soldiers that have been killed, and the flagship's been sunk in the Black Sea, and on and on and on. So I think this will be tough, but we have to keep in mind that huge percentages of the Russian population absolutely believe this, including where I live in Frankfurt, many Russians who live in Europe, in Western Europe, that have access to all media. They also lap this up.
There have been suggestions that Putin is going to reconceptualize what was once a special military operation and call it a full-blown war, that will have implications for military strategy. What do you think is the likelihood of that?
Well, the way you frame that actually is very well done, to reconceptualize what they're doing. The problem will be to declare it now it's full-scale war. It's not just a special military operation or special technical operation. That a certain different doctrine will apply. Laws will change about what they can do. And the most likely step would have been to do a general mobilization, because they have serious manpower problems right now. They're actually outnumbered by Ukrainian troops if you include all the territorial defense forces of Ukraine. So they're having some manpower problems. So the idea of a general mobilization, the problem is that they're going to be humiliated, because I believe an awful lot of people will not actually show up who were mobilized. And the corruption inside the Ministry of Defense is going to be further exposed, because they don't have good equipment to be able to provide to these reservists who do show up. And I spoke with a senior Finnish officer recently, and Finland is about the best in the world when it comes to rapid mobilization for obvious reasons. And he was very skeptical that they would even do it because they would be humiliated, that their system is not tested. So he may talk about a broader war, but he doesn't have anything that he can add to what they're already doing.
In terms of mobilizing his soldiers and them having the will to fight, this will be difficult, will it not, after the death of so many generals and a campaign that's taking so much longer than was promised?
Yeah, there's two or three aspects to this. Of course, in their command system, it's a very top-down, centralized decision-making process, and so that's part of the reason you've had so many general officers being killed, because they had to move forward to solve problems that in the British Army or the U.S. Army would have been taken care of by captains or colonels. Interestingly, and unfortunately for the Russians, usually when these generals are killed, when their command post is shattered, so are 25 or 30 other colonels and lieutenant colonels and majors that are doing the work. So it's not just the general himself who is taken out. The other thing that is really a problem for them, I think that they were forced to start this latest offensive soon before they were ready. In part, I believe, to have something to show for Monday, tomorrow, for the Victory Day. And so the new offensive was being started before the units had been rebuilt, before they could actually get everything in place. And that's why we're seeing such minimal progress. And it's just almost a World War I style of trying to inch forward with a relentless artillery. And frankly, it's not very effective. The third thing, though, that they cannot solve even within a year, they just don't have sergeants, non-commissioned officers. I mean, this is the secret sauce for Western armies, U.S. Army, British Army, the German Army, non-commissioned officers that make soldiers do the right things, that make sure vehicles are cared for, that what we call field craft. They don't have that. And so they'll never be able to fix that.
And finally, Ben Hodges, I couldn't let you go without asking you about your assessment of Vladimir Putin's health, because he's going to be making a public appearance tomorrow. Recent public appearances have been very strange. There was the conversation with his defence minister where he was gripping the table for several minutes throughout the entire conversation. What do you think? Do you think that he's well?
Well, he certainly doesn't give off the image of a person who is robust and up to the strain of leading a country at war. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but I'm from Florida originally, and Fidel Castro outlived about 5 American presidents, and we all were sure that Castro was going to die one day, and we were wrong. So I can't make policy recommendations based on how healthy the president of the Russian Federation looks.
Ben Hodges, retired US Army General and former commander of US Army Forces in Europe. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the privilege.